Soldat. Soldat, meaning soldier, was the lowest enlisted rank in the Nazi army, below all others including Gefreiter. Standardized in 1935 after conscription returned, it remained unchanged through World War II. Soldiers at this level wore no insignia, earning the label ohne Abzeichen, meaning without insignia, and were often called Frontschwein or front pig in the trenches. They handled rifle duty, trench work, guard posts, and carried supplies without any leadership role. Promotion to Gefreiter took 6 to 12 months based on performance. Equivalent ranks existed in other branches, like Schütze in SS, Flieger in Air Force, and Matros in Navy. But Soldat was specific to the army. Gefreiter. Gefreiter, meaning Lance Corporal, was the first promotion above Soldat and sat just below Obergefreiter in the Nazi army. Formalized in 1935 during Germany's rapid rearmament, it became one of the most common ranks during World War II as soldiers gained basic combat experience. Gefreiters wore a single downward-pointing chevron on the upper left sleeve of their field tunic. Promotion to this rank was typically automatic after 6 to 12 months of service based on discipline, survival, and unit needs. No leadership evaluation was required. They continued frontline duties as riflemen, machine gunners or grenadiers, but were often trusted with technical roles like driving, messaging, or operating field radios. While they held no command authority, the rank symbolized reliability. Equivalent ranks included Stürmann in SS and Matrosengefreiter in Navy, but in the Army, Gefreiter simply marked a soldier who had earned their place. Obergefreiter. Obergefreiter, meaning Senior Lance Corporal, ranked above Gefreiter and below Hauptgefreiter in the Nazi Army. Widely used during World War II, it recognized reliable soldiers with over a year of service. Promotion required good conduct and a superior's recommendation, not just time. They wore 2 chevrons on the upper left sleeve. Though they held no formal command, Obergefreiters often handled key support duties like equipment operation or logistics. In practice, they were the dependable core of many squads. Equivalent ranks included Rottenführer in the SS and Obermatros in the Navy, but in the Army, the rank meant seasoned experience. Hauptgefreiter. Hauptgefreiter, meaning Chief Lance Corporal or Senior Corporal, was introduced in 1940 during World War II to recognize long-serving enlisted soldiers who had not yet entered the non-commissioned officer tier. It ranked above Obergefreiter and below Stabsgefreiter in the Nazi German Army. Insignia consisted of 2 chevrons with a pip or additional stitching worn on the upper sleeve. Promotion required extended frontline service, solid discipline, and approval from commanding officers. While they held no command, Hauptgefreiters often acted as informal squad mentors, drivers, signal operators, or machine gun assistants. Equivalent ranks included Unterscharführer in the SS and Matrosenobelgefreiter in the Navy. Stabsgefreiter. Stabsgefreiter, meaning Staff Lance Corporal, was the highest enlisted rank below the non-commissioned officer tier in the Nazi Army, positioned above Hauptgefreiter. It was introduced during World War II to reward soldiers with extended service and consistent discipline, typically after several years on the front. The insignia featured 2 chevrons with a central pip, clearly distinguishing it from lower enlisted ranks. Promotion was selective and based on long-term reliability rather than leadership potential. While Stabsgefreiters held no command authority, they often served as senior riflemen, technical assistants, or administrative aides. In the SS, the equivalent rank was Sturmscharführer. In the Navy, it was Matrosenhauptgefreiter, Unteroffizier. Unteroffizier, meaning sub-officer or junior sergeant, was the first non-commissioned officer, NCO, rank in the Nazi Army, positioned above Stabsgefreiter and below Feldwebel. It marked a formal shift into leadership, with responsibilities over small groups of enlisted men. The insignia included silver braid on the collar and shoulder straps with a single pip. Promotion required several years of service, demonstrated leadership, and completion of NCO training. Unteroffiziers led squads, supervised discipline, and reported to senior NCOs. Though low in the command chain, they were essential to frontline unit cohesion. Equivalent ranks included Unterscharführer in the SS and Bootsmann in the Navy. Feldwebel. Feldwebel, meaning sergeant, was a mid-level non-commissioned officer rank in the Nazi German army, positioned above Unteroffizier and below Oberfeldwebel. It was a long-established rank in German military tradition and became critical during World War II as squad leaders and platoon deputies. Feldwebels wore silver shoulder braid with 1 or 2 pips and collar tabs bordered with silver tressie. Promotion required strong leadership in the field and excellent service records. They commanded squads or support sections, maintained discipline, and executed tactical orders. Their SS equivalent was Scharführer, and their naval counterpart was Oberbootsmann. In practice, Feldwebels were the army's backbone. Oberfeldwebel. Oberfeldwebel, meaning senior sergeant, ranked above Feldwebel and below Stabsfeldwebel in the Nazi army. It was awarded to experienced NCOs who had shown leadership in combat and unit management. The insignia was similar to Feldwebel's, but typically included additional pips or service braid to mark seniority. Promotion required several years as a Feldwebel and consistent performance in leading squads or platoon-sized units. Oberfeldwebels often acted as deputy platoon leaders or managed logistics and training for their companies. The SS equivalent was Oberscharführer, and in the Navy it was Stabsoberbootsmann. They were trusted field leaders with high operational responsibility. Stabsfeldwebel. Stabsfeldwebel, meaning Staff Sergeant Major, was one of the highest non-commissioned officer ranks in the Nazi army, positioned above Oberfeldwebel and just below Hauptfeldwebel. Introduced in 1938, it was reserved for veteran NCOs with over 10 to 12 years of exemplary service. The insignia included silver braid with multiple pips and sometimes service loops. Promotion required long-term leadership, tactical competence, and command loyalty. Stabsfeldwebels typically acted as company-level senior advisors, training coordinators, or logistical overseers. They did not command units, but ensured frontline efficiency. The SS equivalent was Hauptscharführer, and the naval counterpart was Stabsoberbootsmann. They embodied institutional experience. Hauptfeldwebel. Hauptfeldwebel, meaning Company Sergeant Major, was not a formal rank, but an appointment held by the most senior NCO within a company in the Nazi German army. It sat functionally above Stabsfeldwebel and below commissioned officers. Introduced officially during World War II, the position came with significant authority over discipline, daily routines, and internal administration. The insignia included standard Feldwebel-style braid, often with a distinctive double tresser on the cuffs. Appointment required extensive service, strong leadership, and the commander's trust. Hauptfeldwebels were nicknamed Spitz, meaning spear, a traditional German army term for the top NCO. The SS equivalent was Stabsscharführer, in the Navy, Kompaniefeldwebel. Leutnant. Leutnant, meaning lieutenant, was the lowest commissioned officer rank in the Nazi German army, positioned directly above Hauptfeldwebel and below Oberleutnant. It was typically assigned to young officers fresh from military academies or officer candidate schools. The insignia featured a single silver star, pip, on silver-braided shoulder boards. Promotion to lieutenant required successful completion of officer training and selection by higher command. Lieutenants commanded platoons of 30 to 50 men and were responsible for tactical leadership, discipline, and mission execution. The SS equivalent was Untersturmführer, and the naval counterpart was Leutnant zur See. Lieutenants often faced frontline combat early in their careers. Oberleutnant, meaning senior lieutenant, ranked above lieutenant and below Hauptmann in the Nazi German army. It was typically held by officers with 2 to 3 years of experience, often promoted from lieutenant after proven leadership in combat. The insignia featured 2 silver pips on silver-braided shoulder boards. Oberleutnants served as platoon commanders, executive officers in companies, or occasionally as acting company commanders. Promotion was based on time in service and performance evaluations. The equivalent SS rank was Obersturmführer, while in the Navy it was Oberleutnant zur See. These officers often played pivotal roles in unit coordination during field operations. Hauptmann, meaning captain, was a company-grade officer rank in the Nazi German army, positioned above Oberleutnant and below major. Officers at this level typically commanded a company of 100 to 200 soldiers, holding full responsibility for combat readiness, logistics, training, and discipline. The insignia featured 3 silver pips on silver-braided shoulder boards. Promotion required successful leadership as an Oberleutnant and strong evaluations in the field. Hauptmänner played critical roles in executing tactical missions and coordinating with higher command. The SS equivalent was Hauptsturmführer, and the naval counterpart was Kapitänleutnant. Hauptmänner formed the backbone of frontline leadership across the German army. Major was the first field officer rank in the Nazi German army, positioned above Hauptmann and below Oberstleutnant. Majors typically served as battalion executive officers, staff officers at regiment level, or commanders of specialized support units. Their insignia featured a silver braid with a thick outer edge and 1 gold pip on each shoulder board. Promotion required years of successful command experience and selection by higher staff. Majors coordinated tactics, oversaw training and managed logistics on a larger scale than company officers. The SS equivalent was Sturmbannführer, while in the Navy it matched Korvettenkapitän. Majors bridged frontline command with higher strategy. Oberstleutnant, meaning lieutenant colonel, ranked above major and below Oberst in the Nazi army. Officers at this level typically commanded battalions of 500 to 1,000 soldiers or served as executive officers in regiments or brigades. The insignia featured silver shoulder braid with 2 gold pips. Promotion required years of senior officer service, proven leadership in the field, and often staff-level training. Oberstleutnants balanced tactical command with administrative oversight, handling planning, logistics, and operational execution. The SS equivalent was Obersturmbannführer, and the naval counterpart was Fregattenkapitän. They played a key role in connecting high command directives with frontline units. Oberst, meaning colonel, was the highest field officer rank in the Nazi army, positioned above Oberstleutnant and below general major. Obersts typically commanded regiments consisting of several battalions or held senior staff positions at division level. Their insignia featured silver-braided shoulder boards with 3 gold pips. Promotion required extensive military experience, exemplary service, and strategic leadership ability. They oversaw operations, planning, and logistics across large formations and coordinated with both subordinate commanders and general staff. The SS equivalent was Standartenführer, and the Navy counterpart was Kapitän zur See. Obersts served as the critical link between frontline action and upper command. General Major, meaning Major General, was the lowest general officer rank in the Nazi German army, positioned above Oberst and below Generalleutnant. Officers at this level typically commanded divisions of 10,000 to 15,000 troops or held senior staff roles within Army Corps. The insignia included a gold shoulder board interwoven with silver cord and one silver star. Promotion was based on long-term officer service, outstanding battlefield leadership, and appointment by high command. General majors planned large-scale operations, coordinated logistics, and oversaw subordinate regiments. The SS equivalent was Brigadeführer, and the naval equivalent was Konteradmiral. This rank marked entry into the General Staff elite. Generalleutnant, Generalleutnant, meaning Lieutenant General, ranked above General Major and below General der Infanterie, Panzertruppe, or other branch-specific generals in the Nazi army. Officers at this level typically commanded army corps or served as deputy commanders of field armies. The insignia featured a gold and silver braided shoulder board with 2 silver stars. Promotion required distinguished service at division level, advanced staff training, and appointment by the High Command. General Lieutenants oversaw multi-division operations, strategic planning, and coordination of large-scale campaigns. The SS equivalent was Gruppenführer, and the naval counterpart was Vice-Admiral. This rank held significant authority in directing the war effort. General der Infanterie. General der Infanterie, or General of the Infantry, was one of several branch-specific 3-star general ranks in the Nazi German Army, sitting above Generalleutnant and below Generaloberst. Other variants included General der Panzertruppe for armoured troops, General der Artillerie for artillery, and more. Officers at this level typically commanded full Army Corps or served in high-level staff positions. The insignia featured gold and silver braided shoulder boards with 3 silver stars. Promotion required decades of service, battlefield excellence, and political trust. The SS equivalent was Obergruppenführer, and the naval counterpart was Admiral. These generals shaped campaign-level strategy across entire fronts. Generaloberst. Generaloberst, meaning Colonel General, was the second highest rank in the Nazi German army, positioned above General der Infanterie and directly below Generalfeldmarschall. Officers at this level typically commanded entire field armies or held senior strategic roles within the Army High Command, OKH. The insignia consisted of heavily braided gold and silver shoulder boards with a thick outer edge and 3 silver pips. Promotion required exceptional military leadership, long service, and trust from Hitler himself. The SS equivalent was Oberstgruppenführer, while the naval counterpart was General-Admiral. Generaloberst directed major theatres of war and helped shape overall German military doctrine. Generalfeldmarschall. Generalfeldmarschall, meaning Field Marshal, was the highest regular rank in the Nazi German army, positioned above Generaloberst. It was typically awarded by Adolf Hitler as a personal honour for commanding major victories or entire army groups. The insignia featured crossed batons on the shoulder boards with elaborate gold-silver braiding and a national eagle emblem. Promotion was by direct appointment from Hitler, not through standard evaluation. Field marshals had sweeping authority over hundreds of thousands of troops across entire fronts. There was no SS equivalent. In the Navy, the counterpart was Gross Admiral. This rank represented the pinnacle of German military prestige.